Productivity is not just about output per worker. Productivity is really about opportunity per person. In Africa, we see this age as we see the challenges and we see the prospects. We have leapfrogged in the past, and we think that this digital age presents a great opportunity to leapfrog further in the area of healthcare, agriculture, and even in the area of electricity. But for us to take advantage of this, there are structural barriers that we need to fix on the continent. We have infrastructure deficit on the continent. Access to electricity is so critical for the advancement of AI and, of course, the productivity that comes with it. We do have this challenge on the continent. We also have access to capital challenges that affects entrepreneurs in this space of AI and co. And so we need to find a combination therapy that addresses these challenges for us to reap the benefits that we see. We need to see a concerted and deliberate massive investment in AI, in infrastructure that unleashes AI capabilities and productivity on the continent. I like to see and hear Ruth. She, through the Google platform and the Elumelu Foundation, we've been working together to help to support more young African entrepreneurs. What we have on the continent, we have a youth that is energetic, eager, and willing to do something, but constrained by some of the barriers that exist. And so when we come together, put resources together to support these youth, we're actually helping the world to improve productivity. And we're also trying to make sure that, because AI on its own, if we don't deliberately invest in digital infrastructure, we can actually create further problem for the world in the area of inequality. And that is why, like Google, the Elumelu Foundation, our group, we've seen the impact of combining resources in helping to improve access to digital infrastructure that helps ultimately to drive efficiency. So for the African continent, there's a lot that we can do, a lot we should do, a lot we must do with our development partners. Africa tried in the area of mobile money. We revolutionized mobile money not because our systems were perfect, but because entrepreneurs on ground innovated within the constraints that existed.
You mean the way that mobile phones leapfrog? Yep. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. The mobile money revolution.
Right.
It happened on the continent in spite of the challenges.
I see.
Not because we don't have challenges, but because entrepreneurs innovated around the constraints.
Right.
And so when this kind of opportunity, I like to use it to call on everyone, public, private, development partners, big technology companies, institutions like the IMF and co. Let's work together to ensure that AI and its productivity enhancement and efficiency works for all. And that AI and productivity in the 21st century helps to democratize prosperity and not just there for a few to benefit from. So a couple of points. First is to talk about the situation in Africa. Now, over 50% of the population do not have access to electricity. We have young demographic. About 60% of the population are under the age of 30. And they are quite creative, energetic, and want to contribute their own part to the development of the continent. But there's significant capital constraint. There is significant infrastructure, digital infrastructure deficit. And so where do you start from? And that is where public-private partnership becomes very important. We need to attract and mobilize massive capital and investment to help address this deficit that we have on the continent. It is estimated, we're actually launching a white paper tomorrow, United Bank for Africa here. It's estimated that we have over $4 trillion in domestic capital on the continent. If we can't mobilize this, we will not put strain on the government's fiscal budget. But the challenge is in working together to mobilize this capital. And to do so, we need to establish trust. We need to establish accountability. We need to make sure that the domestic savings and capital mobilization on the continent is actually working for its people and channeling that resources in the required area. If we would fix improvement in access to electricity, then we'd have, to a large extent, dealt with the issue of productivity, dealt with the issue of youth employment and engagement, and be able to support even the rest of the world. But a few more things have to happen. I've heard about governance and ethics in this space. We must know that inclusion is not automatic. Inclusion is deliberate. We need to have African voices on the table. And we must understand that digital inclusion in the 21st century is economic inclusion. If we want to deal with inequality, if we want to create and democratize prosperity across the globe, we must deal with some of these issues we're talking about here. So yes, we need smart partnership that works. Smart partnership that can help mobilize investment from domestic, across the continent, and from private sector across the globe without putting pressure on government. But government must provide accountability, transparency, and help to create the enabling environment that will allow the private capital mobilize to work for people so that collectively we can improve productivity, efficiency on the continent. I thought this was such a great platform that I should use to say something very important, given the geography that I advocate for. One is that digital transformation must not only lead to productivity efficiency, it must also help to democratize prosperity.
Right, democratize prosperity.
In a continent like Africa, you can't democratize prosperity if you don't address the demographic, the youth demographic.
Right.
And to do so, and by the way, they don't ask for sympathy. They don't ask for handout. They just want to have systems that work.
Right.
And for systems to work, we need everyone working together to achieve this.
Right. Thank you.
No. One second. And finally,
I was warned about this with you.
Let me say that the model that we have practiced with Google, the Tony Elumelu Google model works, and it lends itself to people who actually want to help drive productivity that's inclusive for all.